Howdy, listener. This is Connor. Thank you so much for listening to our episode today. If you find these interviews enriching, one of the easiest ways you can help this show is to leave a rating and a review. If you go into your podcast player, for Apple Podcasts, if you scroll beneath all of your episodes, you'll find a spot where you can rate and review. If you just click that and add a review, that helps others find these impactful episodes and hear the valuable insights of the people who are the heartbeat of the Tucson community. So if you have a moment, please do that. It really helps the show. It really helps me out. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for your support. Toodaloo. Welcome to T. Lokes, Tucson's local business podcast. I'm your host, L. Connor McEverly, and in each episode, we embark on a journey to connect with the passionate minds behind the businesses and nonprofits that make our community thrive. Join me as I sit down with the owners, visionaries, and change makers who pour their hearts into shaping the local landscape. We explore the challenges, triumphs, and unique journeys that define Tucson's business community. From the corner coffee shop to the innovative startups and impactful nonprofits, T. Lokes is your window into the diverse stories that make our city special. Tune in and get ready to get connected. This is T. Lokes. Howdy, folks, and welcome to T. Lokes, your Tucson local business podcast. I'm your host, L. Connor McEverly, and here with me in the studio today is the founder, owner, and operator of Thunder Sky Video, a business that elevates brands through the power of storytelling and quality video. It is my pleasure to introduce to the show today, Jason Barrett. Jason, how are you doing today?
Hey, Connor, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this ever since I met you. So it's cool to have an opportunity to do this now. And I'm glad to have an opportunity to help you trial run your setup. Your setup in your studio is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're doing this kind of new thing. I have 2 cameras. So for those who are watching this in a video format, you can see that this is new. We're actually in the same room. That's crazy to me. Yeah, and it's been a while, a long time coming, and I'm happy to have you here. You've happened to come in at a good time. I've honed this craft. So, so let's jump right in. Let's talk about Thunder Sky Video. So what is your mission and what set you on it?
My mission with Thunder Sky Video is to provide a video service for local businesses who have a story to tell. And I mean, that really can mean anybody, but I think most especially small business owners, solopreneurs, folks that are looking to use video to further their business goals. And that could be one of a few things. Some people have marketing goals, and video can help expand your marketing reach.
Right.
Having video to train or recruit employees, on-the-job training and instructor-led training is very important, I think, in most situations, but video can supplement that,
right?
In ways where you don't necessarily need a trainer live and teaching people things. So for businesses that have a high rate of turnover, video can be used for that.
Yeah.
And then finally, nurturing existing customers.
Right.
How can video be positioned in a way where it lives on your website and it can help guide customers through your journey and enhance that personal connection that you have with people.
Totally. Yeah. No. So it sounds like you do really a lot, and you offer a lot of services to business owners, be it, brand awareness or streamlining some of their processes internally through using video. Reading through your website, I saw that, you help people take things from like concept to a full video, and I was wondering if you could walk us through your process and how it ensures like a seamless experience for your clients.
Yeah, thank you. Concept is really where it all starts. I think a lot of folks, when they first contact me, probably have a good understanding of their business and their business model and what their mission and values are, but they might not necessarily have a inherent understanding of what they might use video for. Ideation, right, is something that I help a lot of people with, coming up with ideas for good videos. And so I like to take people down a journey that helps them understand the different types of videos they might think of creating to see what sticks and what, kind of lights them up inside. An example of that could be frequently asked questions videos.
Nice. Yeah.
So most business owners are often asked the same 3, 4, 5 questions when somebody picks up the phone and first contacts them.
Yeah.
And so how do you use video to capture the answers to those questions and then have a format that puts that out into your website, into the universe, as it were, so people can find that information. You're providing value, without anybody ever having to pick up the phone. So they get a chance to get to know you, and they get a chance to get their question answered ahead of time. So that's one example. But I like to guide people through a series of questions that helps me understand what is most important to them and what they're trying to communicate. I'll ask questions like, what are the 3 most important things that you want a video to convey? Which they may or may not have thought of before, but there's something about the magic of just asking simple questions like that will get them to think and dig deep into what authentically do they want to convey.
Right.
I'll ask people what kind of mood they want to set. I'll ask people how they want their customers to feel, or their employees to feel, as the case may be, when they watch the video. And I'll write down words that kind of come out of their mouth, and they can be emotional words, they can be concrete words, but those are going to help guide environment for video, how something looks.
Right.
It's certainly going to help guide how something sounds. I can use those words to select background music that's going to be appropriate for what they're trying to convey.
Totally.
Things like that. So, and then I'll set the stage for what does a recording session look like. Oftentimes, I like to start people in my studio recording in front of a green screen. So we're not really trying to go out and find the perfect location and work through a lot of location details.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more control in a studio.
Totally.
And then we can replace a background with whatever environment they want. So that's usually a good place to start and makes people feel comfortable with the process.
Totally. Totally. And, as you, continue your work with folks, do you kind of like help them out of their shells and kind of go to new locales, depending on what their needs are?
Yes. And I think helping people out of their shell, it's interesting. Like from the first time I record with somebody to the second and third time, you can definitely see people are opening up more and more.
Yeah.
Even within the first few minutes of a recorded video to the end of that first session, I like to ask people just a lot of basic questions, like what did they have for breakfast that day?
Yeah.
Just to open up and get the blood flowing and sort of like lower the nerves. Because being on camera is perfectly natural for some, and some people are really actually terrified of it. And so how do I make them feel comfortable as quickly as I can?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and kind of like piggybacking from that, like what are, besides kind of breaking the ice with some questions, like what are some other techniques you have to help soften people up in front of the camera?
I like to help people understand that they're doing a good job along the way. You don't get that instant feedback from a video until you've sat down and watched it, days or weeks later. So, in the moment, particularly if somebody's nervous, but even if they're not, I'll reinforce that they're doing a great job, that they look great on camera, that they sound great, that the responses that they're giving sound perfectly natural for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use scripting in what we record. Sometimes it's interview style and it's very natural and off the cuff from that person's voice. So particularly if it's not scripted, it's nice to know that the responses that are being said are authentic and sound like that person.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. So I know that there's someone out there right now who's hearing us talk and they want to take you up on your services. And I guess I'm wondering, like, what does that process look like from the call to the shoot to the delivery of the goods?
Every time I have somebody that inquires about working with me, I offer them a complimentary consultation. That's the first step.
Nice.
So I will schedule a Zoom call with them, and we will go through some of the things that we've already mentioned, but I will, in a consultation, I will ask them some high-level questions and even some detailed questions about what it is they're trying to come across. Generally, once somebody has decided to work with me and we are moving forward together, I'll set up another call, which is really a pre-planning call. a pre-shoot, pre-production call, if you will.
Right.
And in that call, we're getting back together and we're going over the specifics of time and date and location.
Right.
If we're going to use the studio, we're going to use a green screen. I'll make recommendations on what to wear. Preferably nothing green.
Exactly.
Unless you want to disappear, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll review the main points that we had talked about in the consultation, just so that I'm clear on the main points we're trying to convey.
Right.
We'll determine if it's going to be scripted, if it's going to be conversational.
Yeah.
And particularly popular right now is the idea of a monthly service. So I can certainly offer folks one-off videos if they have a specific need for, maybe they want a brand story that's going to sit on the front of their website. It's going to be evergreen. Right. That's all they want. That's great. If somebody knows that they're looking for more video across the time, they're going to roll it into a marketing strategy. That's going to call for probably multiple videos. So I do offer a monthly service to help manage that.
Nice.
And if a client is going to take me up on that, it doesn't necessarily mean we're getting together to record every month. We can actually batch capture a lot of content in one fell swoop.
Nice.
Which makes it a lot easier for them from a time commitment standpoint.
I totally hear what you're saying with like the batch capture. I help people put together their podcasts, and I totally recommend like sitting down and doing some batch stuff, because it definitely helps save you time in the long run with your schedule.
Yeah, and I think there's a period of time that goes by where you're just not getting good stuff anymore. You're not getting creative anymore. The juices are worn out, and I think it usually it's like that 90-minute mark or so.
Right.
I find once we've been recording that long, maybe we can press that to 2 hours, but after that, everybody's kind of tired.
Yeah.
The throat is sore. We've already taken several sips of water, but we're ready to end at that point. But you can get a lot of content in a short amount of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Tucson friends. Are you or someone you know a local Tucson business owner who's looking to expand their visibility, grow their brand, and engage more with their community? Well, I want to talk to you. Don't just be a listener. Come on the show and interview. Showcase your business. Tell us all about your story. Tell about the highs, the lows, and how you serve the Tucson community. We would love to hear what you have to say and hear the intricacies of your business. Humanize your brand, position yourself as a thought leader, and get in front of more eyes and ears. Click the link below and star on an episode. I look forward to talking with you. Now back to the show. Yeah, it sounds like you have this great kind of customizable service that can help businesses really with a lot of different aspects of their business. And thank you so much for telling us about this, first and foremost. But I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to get, I want to get to know a little bit more about, how Jason feels in Thunder Sky, So, we've been in a BNI chapter together. We've known each other for a while. We've had plenty of conversations, and in our past conversations, you've told me that you've worked for Disney. And I'm wondering, what are a few tips or tricks that you picked up there that you still use frequently? I
really, truly owe a lot of my professional development to my time at Disney, for sure. I was with that organization for 26 years, Southern California based, all at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And, but had an opportunity to work on collaborative teams locally. I had an opportunity to work with remote teams, both at Disneyland in California and Walt Disney World in Florida.
Nice.
I had an opportunity to be an international trainer. So I was sent over to Disneyland Paris for 6 weeks to go train folks to do what we were doing in the States. And then my career there culminated with an opportunity to go open Shanghai Disneyland as part of the opening crew task force. So that found me living in Shanghai for 10 months.
Wow.
Which was very formative. So all of these steps, all of my experiences at Disney, particularly from a leadership standpoint, enabled me to be a good business person today. I learned how to communicate with people.
Right.
I learned how to meet people where they're at, and really just like understanding where people are coming from. It taught. I was never in a sales position per se at Disney, but it taught me a lot about what good sales is, which I have come to find is really just listening to what people want and figuring out a way to get it for them. I mean, that's how I can boil down sales in a way that works for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. It seems like you've been taken to many very cool places in your time with Disney. And yeah, there's really no understating how important communication is and meeting people where they're at. And I can totally see how that is a valuable skill when you are helping people showcase their businesses, which I think to many people like kind of feel personal, you know, it's like kind of like your baby. And especially for those folks who are like afraid to get on camera, you know, being able to make a connection and get comfortable is so important, I think. And I think that's really cool. How your varied and awesome time at Disney like complements that and helped you form that, you know?
Yeah, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention the idea of storytelling and how important being a storyteller is in my role. Right. I'm helping other businesses around Tucson tell their authentic story.
Right.
I don't know of too many companies that are better at storytelling than the Walt Disney Company.
Very true.
So from a really early age, I was a big fan of Disney and just this idea that they were the industry leaders of storytelling. Yeah. And so that taught me an awful lot being around that every day and how a good story is put together.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, kind of improvised question here, but like, what was like your favorite Disney movie as a kid? I feel like every kid has one. What was the one that grabbed you?
I think my response to that would be Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Probably for a couple of different reasons. I think the story is cool, and I think that there's a lot of moral lessons that are learned from that story that we all ought to learn. But the technology that went into Pinocchio was also quite innovative. That was the first animated film, if I'm not mistaken, which was made using the multi-plane camera. And if you're not familiar with the multi-plane camera, it was a camera that Disney invented that was vertical, and they would paint different cells with different art, but the camera would move in or out on them, which caused a sort of 3D feel that had never taken place before.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that at Disney Studios, and that blew my mind. That's super cool.
You had a chance to go to the studio?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Well, in the studio, if you've got a chance to visit the studio, I mean, that's, you know, a really cool experience, and it's not open to the public. So I'm curious how you managed to do that. But.
Well, then maybe I didn't go to the actual studio, but I remember it was something in the.
I know what you mean. You're talking about the animation exhibit in California Adventure.
Yeah, exactly. I saw an exhibit once. I didn't get in the studio. My bad. Clearly, I was young and impressionable. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was always a Sleeping Beauty guy. I love the dragon fight at the end with Prince Philip storming the castle.
Sure.
But that's not relevant, really.
Well, and you know, and the dress, it changes colors. It's pink, and then it's blue, and then it's pink, and then it's blue.
Oh, it was green, right?
It was green?
At a moment.
Now I've got to go back and see it again.
Yeah. So let's take this back. Let's take this back to Jason. Let's take this back to Tucson. So as a video producer, you have a keen eye for detail. And I'm wondering, you know, I know we talked about how you bring people into the studio for like their first shoot, but, you know, moving beyond that, like, do you have a favorite filming location in Tucson that you believe always delivers the perfect shot?
You know, I have been drawn to the national parks.
Oh, yeah.
I think I haven't really had too much occasion to shoot out there, but I think for background scenes, things that I can take back into the studio with me, as I mentioned, I can manipulate a green screen and replace that with anything. So I do find myself collecting a lot of B-roll footage around town.
Nice.
You know, or visuals that I can insert into a video in a background.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to record somebody out in the field, some places downtown are really cool, like the historic courthouse is a good one to prop up in front of and record. Yeah. And just some of the older barrios that are, you know, around. Yeah. I love really all of the area around where the original Presidio was. There's lots of really great adobe structures to film in front of.
Right.
And really colorful backgrounds within the barrios.
Yeah, that's a real sweet part of town. Absolutely. Kind of piggybacking on that, looking at some of your videos, I saw that you made a video where you explored Tucson's historic Turquoise Trail. And I'm wondering, what was the most surprising discovery you made on that project?
One of the more surprising discoveries I've made about the Turquoise Trail is how few Tucsonans know that it exists. I'll share videos that I've done out there or just casually bring it up in conversation with people who've lived here their whole lives and have never gone down there to explore it. So just being able to talk about it conversationally as this thing that exists, and it's a 2.5-mile walking tour around some really interesting parts of the city, some historical sites that are off the beaten path. Some of the cooler spots along the Turquoise Trail I've seen are the El Tiradito Wishing Shrine, which is really important culturally and is a cool spot to go and check out. You can, if you're so interested, you can go down there and leave a note for a member of your family that's passed on as a way to celebrate them. Very near to that, there's another spot that was formerly the Carrillo Gardens, and it was a place that had an area big enough for a lake with boats and recreational activities, and it's no longer there. It's been replaced many moons ago by a school. Carrillo Middle School, I believe, sits there now.
Okay.
But it's neat to discover the past of a place. And for me, I haven't lived in Tucson more than 5 years, so I'm really exploring this city as I go and learning new things about it all the time. And it's neat for me as a relative newcomer to Tucson to fall in love with Tucson at this moment in time in my life, and also be able to share what I'm learning about to folks that have lived here their whole life that maybe have taken some of this place, that have maybe taken some of those places for granted.
That sounds like a really good time, and seeing some really cool and pretty places. And yeah, getting in touch with the history of a place and knowing its context and culture is just, it's always really fun, It is like opening up a present in a certain way, or seeing something with new eyes. So yeah, folks, I mean, if you don't want to walk the Turquoise Trail yourself, you can watch Jason's video. But if you want to get out there, which, I recommend you do while the weather's still nice, it's downtown, check it out.
Yeah, and I've been recording the series along the Turquoise Trail in different installments, so I'm touching on each of the places on the trail one at a time. And funny enough, when I started to record it, it was last summer, and if you look closely, you can see the sweat beading on my brow.
Yeah. And
as I continue to record through the year, I'm wearing a jacket in, I think, episode 6, whereas in episode 1, I'm sweating bullets.
Yeah. And the rubber's melting off your shoe and onto the sidewalk.
That is right.
Yeah. So Jason, thank you so much for talking a bit about your experiences in Disney, your experiences filming in Tucson. That's really cool. I think it's really awesome that you pick up B-roll and utilize that with the green screen. I think that's very cool. I didn't even think about that. And this is why you hire professionals, people. But I want to go kind of back to your business, and I want to talk a little bit about maybe a common misconception that people have about what you do.
I think a lot of people, when they first hear that I'm a videographer, expect that I'm strictly doing weddings and events and potentially drone footage for real estate. Those are some of the more common misconceptions. I really don't do any of that stuff full time. I will and have taken on some of those things, but specifically, I'm really in the business of storytelling and human stories. And the reality is that I'm really more a people-focused videographer, and setting folks up with an interview style shoot is far more where my talents lie and where my storytelling comes into play.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I wonder, is there anyone who comes to you for, a more B2B focused video that maybe has some misconception about what you'll do?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a fair misconception, I think, that a videographer is available and operating in a very broad sense of services, from business to consumer in addition to business style. I do focus more on business to business. I will speak with anybody who has a consumer focused angle that they want to do something with. For example, I've had people approach me about doing documentaries on their lives before, and those conversations have gone places that I didn't expect. So I'm still young enough in this business where I haven't decided to be hardcore about the things that I'm offering. I do want to keep an open mind to what Tucson's market wants from a videographer.
Totally.
So that I know that I'm not closed off to opportunities.
Yeah, totally. No, I can hear that too from an audio space as well. I've done audiobooks. I've done explainer videos too. So I totally understand being flexible and kind of like navigating solutions. And I think that that's a unique thing and an asset personally. I think that it can be easy to, when people talk about business, they always say, find your niche. And I think there's some truth to that, and it's important to do that. But I think it's also important not to close yourself off, right? Like there are, just like you were saying, you're staying, I don't think this is verbatim, but you're staying aware you're staying aware of the needs of the Tucson community and the people who want your services. And so staying flexible, I think is a wise strategy personally.
Coaches like you are already growing their brands and attracting new clients with professional podcasts. But between scheduling episodes and audio editing, starting a podcast might feel like another thing on your to-do list. At L. Connor Voice LLC, we make podcasting simple and effective, from recording to promotion, so you can focus on your clients. You already have the material. I can turn it into engaging podcast episodes that can boost your brand and expand your reach. Discover how easy it can be to launch your show with us. Schedule a free consultation. Follow my links in the episode notes. Reach out and let's talk.
I was approached by my business coach because she had a need to do a Zoom recording of a workshop she was facilitating, for example.
Yeah.
And that was something that is not on my website. Is something that I offer, but a live recording seemed like a fun challenge to take on. And so we did it. And we recorded with 3 different cameras from iPhones to iPads to laptop cameras, in addition to my professional camera. And I was able to create a 4-camera shoot.
Wow.
And that's not something that I want to be doing a lot of, I don't think, but it was great to take on the challenge and see if I could pull it off.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to test your limits sometimes. That's and that sounds like a really fun project. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I think it's always kind of fun to have like multiple moving parts and see how those like fit together and make that go smooth. So that's really cool. So let's move on to our next question. What are some goals that you are striving for now?
In 2025, I am striving to grow the business in a way where I can sustain more growth. I'm spending time on the business side of my business so that I can understand how this is going to scale for the future.
Yeah.
I want to be able to serve as many people as I can, as many business owners as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm realizing quickly the limited capacity of one person behind the scenes doing it all, right? So
totally
investigating what it means to take on team, investigating what it means to take on contract work is something that I'm looking at right now.
I mean, that's got to be a really exciting place to be. And, maybe a little nerve-wracking as well, perhaps.
Something else that I am putting energy into this year is expanding education opportunities. Yeah. So while I'm always looking forward to those one-on-one consultations with people that want to learn more about video, whether that be something I can be doing for them or how they can just help themselves with video. I'm also with a partner in Robin Moore of Spark Collective Marketing. We're offering a monthly mastermind.
Yeah.
So her expertise in the marketing space combined with my expertise in video as one component of that marketing space, we're teaming up together and we're hosting a mastermind that people can participate in and learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had the privilege of joining
Was it your first mastermind?
It was our first, yes.
That was a good time, folks. So I definitely say check it out. I definitely learned a lot. It was really fun to get together with a lot of other like-minded, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business owners, nonprofit owners, and talk about like our unique struggles and then see so many different like perspectives to that,
Absolutely. I mean, we can learn so much from each other just based on our own experience. And the fact of the matter is, we have a lot of business owners that have their hands in lots of different things in town.
Yeah.
And, few of them are marketing experts to begin with. And so we learn a little bit about it as we go. Yeah. And we can learn a little bit more about it as we go by learning from each other.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So yeah, folks, definitely follow the links in the episode notes if you're interested in joining that mastermind. And we can talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But I would like to ask you now, what may someone be experiencing that indicates they should reach out to you?
If somebody is video curious, right? Maybe they are dabbling with video. They feel like there is a want and a need to take video as a medium to introduce to help their business in some way, but they don't really have a great grasp of where to start. That's a good invitation to reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation with somebody about what they've done so far. Have they dabbled in video from their phone? Did they take a class back in high school and don't have any current knowledge of things? What's their knowledge around lighting or sound? And these are things that, with a very basic amount of information, you can get something that's quite usable, without going hog wild, investing in a lot of equipment if you don't have to. So I'm happy to just get people started. And I think that's really the key to video, is to just kind of get started and start to iterate and then reiterate. And it's a numbers game. It's a repetition game to some extent.
Right. A little bit of rehearsal here and there, and practice, and that'll also kind of help loosen folks up to the idea as well. I know definitely, like, taking it to a personal place, like starting podcasting was an interesting time. Most people don't like the sound of their own voice. And for a little while, I didn't either, but I just had to like kind of get through it. And now I don't mind, I don't know if it's bad to say I like the sound of my own voice, but that's probably the most accurate thing.
I would compliment you on the sound of your voice. I think you've got a great voice.
Well,
and I hear everybody else say the same thing. So
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You should have confidence in your voice. But also, beyond that do-it-yourself approach through video, certainly I think business owners at some point recognize that they don't have the bandwidth to be doing that on their own and are looking for some help. And so I am absolutely happy to take that off of their plate and help them be successful with a component that they don't have a lot of expertise in. True. And don't have, a lot of time spent in learning how to edit video and, learning a new software, no matter what it is time consuming. And Definitely. So if you're a business owner that knows that you have to have your talents being utilized elsewhere, that's something that I'm happy to help them succeed with by taking that part off their plate and making it easy.
Totally. And that's so valuable. I think a lot of business owners, especially solopreneurs, they get really overwhelmed, and it always helps to hire a professional, and it's going to be a lot faster and you're going to be a lot happier with the result. Right. So I know right now that there are some folks right now who are listening to this conversation. They're interested. They're video curious. They're video inclined. And they want to learn more about Thunder Sky Video. They want to hear more of your insights or watch your videos. And on that note, where can people go?
The best place is probably to go to my YouTube channel. I really lean into YouTube. I suggest other business owners do the same thing. Yeah. To have a YouTube account is free. You can and should be posting content there to help feed your SEO optimization. Right. Video. Google loves video. So if you can tie that into YouTube. But my YouTube channel is at Thunder Sky Video.
Perfect. Yeah, and folks, we will have links to Jason's YouTube as well as some socials as well. So if you want to go and get in contact with Jason and Thunder Sky Video, just go ahead and check out the episode notes and they'll be right there for you. So, moving on from that, I'm wondering if you have any events coming up in the near future. I know we talked about the mastermind, but, do you have any events coming up in the near future that people should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, well, the mastermind is going to be monthly. So, this next one is going to be in March. I think we're aiming for the third Tuesday of every month. We are going to be doing those monthly, the monthly marketing mastermind. So, depending upon when you're listening to this, it's probably going to be the next third Tuesday ahead of you. So check your calendar for that.
Awesome.
Beyond that, personally, I am training for the LA Marathon. It's the 40th running of the LA Marathon. I've never done it before. I'm not a marathoner, but I'm about to become one.
Nice.
And I am running for a cause. My late uncle, who passed away this year, was my biggest support in helping me get and stay healthy. And he taught me about running. And so I've been running alongside him, and also in his passing have been running for him in his memory. So I am running for the charity of his choice, which is St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Nice.
And so I'm raising money along those lines. And so I'm running this race for myself, but I'm also running it for Coach Kevin.
Awesome. And I'm sorry to hear about your loss, but it's very touching and powerful, the motivations you have for running this marathon. And, good luck on that first marathon. That's got to be fun. I've seen you posting about it on your Instagram, posting some of your training. So, just keep at it. And you mentioned you have a donation link for that?
I do. So I have a GoFundMe donation link, and like I said, looking for donations that will help support the cause, and specifically raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Nice. That is a great cause. So folks, if you want to contribute to Jason's running of the LA Marathon, again, links are in the episode notes. So go ahead, check that out and donate. It's for a really good cause. So go ahead and take a peek. So Jason, it's been great talking to you. It's been great having you here and on the show. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing, what you do, why you do it, who you do it for, and the many ways you help the folks in Tucson. But before I can let you go, I have to ask you one question. It's the question I ask everybody who comes through these doors, physical or virtual. What is one thing out of the many that you love about Tucson?
I fall more in love with Tucson every day. And as I mentioned earlier, I've only been here for, 5 years, and it's been great to get to know a new place. Growing up around a big city, there are some aspects of Los Angeles and Orange County that I miss because of that big city energy, but we have that here in Tucson too. The downtown and 4th Ave is very vibrant, and I do like spending time down there.
Yeah.
But even more than that, I think it's this access to the great outdoors that we enjoy practically all year long.
Yeah.
And as a runner, I've really appreciated having the climate here and the beautiful scenery to motivate me on my run. So I spent a lot of time running up and down on the running paths on the Loop and on the east side over near Houghton and Valencia is kind of my running territory, if you will. So you'll probably see me out there.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I go by.
Should I mispronounce Houghton like I did, or should I call it Houghton like it's really meant to be pronounced?
You say whatever you like, man. I say Houghton.
Everybody does. I feel bad for Mrs. Houghton, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Houghton.
I stepped on you there. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, I hope there'll be people out there who love that "Sorry, Miss Houghton" gag. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. When I came to Tucson, I came to go to U of A. And as a freshman, I didn't have a vehicle. And I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona. I don't know if you visited, but it's a nice mountain town. And you can pretty much walk in like any direction for 15 minutes and you're in like the deep woods. And so I always, it's always very important to me to have some access to nature. And once sophomore year came around and, we had access to a car, going up to Mount Lemmon, going to the Rincon Mountains, going out to the Tucson Mountains, even like just really getting to see these beautiful, green spaces. Like the Sonoran Desert's the wettest desert in the world for what it's worth. And And it's beautiful. So I can really resonate with that answer.
Yeah, and Lemon has the cool hoodoos on the way up. I think the University of Arizona still maintains a podcast that it's like a guided journey up the mountain. So as you press play and continue driving up the hill, you get to hear all about all of the features of how the landscape is changing.
Yeah.
That's just really neat.
Yeah.
I just climbed Tumamoc for the first time on Christmas morning.
Nice.
That was awesome. It's a really challenging uphill climb if you haven't done it.
Yeah.
I recommend that you check that out. It's fully paved, but it will make you breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to go check that out. Yeah. I think I've been there once a long time ago, but it's been a while.
Spectacular view of the city. You'll feel like you're up in a plane. Great.
All right. Well, Jason, that's all we have for today. Again, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about Thunder Sky Video and your personal experiences.
Thank you, Connor, for having me on T-Lokes.
Of course. And take care, folks.
And that's a wrap for another episode of T-Lokes, your go-to podcast for uncovering the untold stories of Tucson's local businesses and nonprofits. A big thank you to our incredible listeners for joining us on this journey of connection and discovery. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to Jason Barrett from Thunder Sky Video for coming into the studio, helping me test out my new camera setup, and for telling his story of Thunder Sky Video, the important things he's learned on his quest to building this business, and how he helps other business and nonprofit owners find their voice and tell their story. Show them some love and check out their links in the episode notes. A big thank you to Louis Sanders from Soundmonk Studios for composing the awesome T-Lokes theme music. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay connected with Tucson's vibrant business scene, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback is invaluable, and it helps us continue bringing you engaging conversations. As we wrap up, remember that T-Lokes isn't just a podcast, it's a community. Let's keep the conversation going on social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or our Discord channel and share your thoughts, suggestions, or even recommend a local business or nonprofit you'd like to see featured on the show. Thank you once again for being a part of the T-Lokes community. Until next time, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep supporting the heartbeat of Tucson. Toodaloo.